Sometimes it feels like all we hear about are the bad things going on in the world. You
Yeah,
know, it's easy to get bogged down in all of that negativity.
it really is.
But today, we're going to do something different. We're going to take a deep dive into Heartbeat at 9 p.m.
Okay.
And this is a collection of really heartwarming stories that are all about kindness and human connection.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. And all of these stories are taken from X, so they're real people and real situations.
That's great. So we'll get a global perspective on this.
Exactly. We have stories from like New York, Italy, Brazil, Kenya, Australia,
Wow.
Canada, Iran, the UK, South Africa, and even Japan.
Really highlights the universality of human compassion, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
No matter where you go in the world, people have this innate desire to connect and to help each other out.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it.
All right.
Let's start with a story from New York City,
Okay.
and more specifically, the subway.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a subway performer right in the middle of a song when suddenly his guitar string breaks.
That's every musician's worst nightmare.
I know, right? Talk about a nightmare scenario. But here's where the story gets really cool.
Okay.
The other passengers on the subway didn't just watch him struggle.
Oh, wow.
They actually stepped up to help him.
That's so kind.
Some people offered him money, but others, some people offered spare guitar strings if they had them.
Wow.
And even some people offered him like a whole new guitar.
Seriously.
It was really amazing.
That is amazing. That speaks volumes about our capacity for empathy, doesn't it? Like, even in that kind of rushed environment,
Yeah.
people still took the time to help.
It's heartwarming to think that even in a place that's known for being kind of impersonal and busy like the subway, people can still come together and help someone in need.
For sure.
Speaking of community, our next story takes us to Italy.
Okay.
There's a small town there where the local library has become a haven for refugees. Yeah, it provides them with language classes and support services,
That's wonderful.
but most importantly, it helps them feel like they belong.
That's so important, especially for people who have been displaced from their homes.
Yeah, it
Because,
ain't.
it's interesting how this story challenges our traditional view of libraries
Right.
as these quiet places where you go to be alone,
Yeah.
This library in Italy has really embraced being a community hub.
That's cool.
And it's showing that libraries can be these vibrant places where people from all different backgrounds can come together
I love that.
to learn and connect and support each other.
Okay, for our next story, we're going to head to Brazil, where a real-life street corner Santa is spreading holiday cheer.
Ah, I love that.
Yeah, he's been going above and beyond, handing out toys and food to children and families that are struggling financially.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And get this, his actions have inspired other people to join in too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it created this whole ripple effect of generosity.
Really embodies the holiday spirit.
It really does.
That's so heartwarming.
Speaking of inspiring actions, we also have a story from a marathon in Kenya.
Oh.
And what happened was that some of the runners actually stopped during the race to help a fellow runner who had fallen.
That's awesome.
Great.
They could have just kept going and focused on their own times,
Yeah,
but they chose to put human connection above competition.
right. And they actually carried the fallen runner to the finish line together.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
It's a really great example of how, even when we're striving for individual goals, there's always room for compassion.
So true.
Okay, for our next story, we're going to travel all the way to Australia.
Okay.
This story is about a homeless man who was playing chess in a park,
Okay.
and a passerby noticed him and was really impressed by his skill.
Wow.
Yeah, and instead of just walking by, this person stopped and started talking to the man.
That's really kind.
Yeah, and he learned about his story and actually ended up helping him find housing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and he even helped them reconnect with the local chess community.
That is so cool.
It's amazing how just one person taking the time to connect with someone can have such a huge impact on their life.
It really is.
Okay, now we have a really heartwarming story from Canada.
Right.
It's about an elderly woman and her dog.
Oh.
And unfortunately, her dog got sick,
Oh, no.
and she couldn't afford the veterinary care that he needed.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it was really heartbreaking. But the vet clinic actually shared her story online.
On X.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the response from people online was incredible.
I bet.
People donated so much money that it covered the cost of the dog's treatment.
That's so heartwarming.
I know, right?
It's a testament to the empathy that exists in the world,
Yeah.
People really do care about each other.
Okay, so for our next story, we're going to go to Iran.
Okay.
Have you heard about the Wall of Kindness?
Oh, yeah, I've read about that.
So what it is it's basically a wall in a public space where people can leave clothes, shoes, blankets, or anything else that someone might need.
That's such a cool idea.
I know, right?
It's so simple, but so effective.
Exactly. And the coolest thing is that this idea has spread to other countries too.
Really?
Yeah, all because of people sharing it on X.
It's like this ripple effect of generosity.
Yeah, it really is.
That's awesome.
And speaking of generosity through music, our next story takes us to the UK.
Oh, okay.
And it features a music teacher who, after losing her job, decided to offer free music lessons to kids who couldn't afford them.
Oh, that's so kind.
I know, right? And people online were so moved by her story that they donated instruments and money to help her out.
That's amazing. Music has this incredible ability to bring people together.
It really does.
And it's wonderful that she's able to share her passion with these kids.
Okay, and for our next story, we're going to South Africa.
Right.
There's a supermarket there that has this amazing program called Feed a Family.
What's that?
So basically, when you're checking out at the grocery store, you can buy an extra bag of groceries that's already put together.
Oh, okay.
And then that bag is donated to a family in need.
That is such a clever idea.
I know. And it's so easy for people to participate, you know?
Yeah.
You're already at the store buying your own groceries.
Exactly.
It's a great way for a business to address an important social issue.
For sure.
Okay, our next story is from Japan.
All right.
And this one's all about the power of words.
Oh.
So a young student was feeling really lonely and isolated.
Oh.
And one day they received an anonymous letter in the mail.
Okay.
And the letter was just filled with words of encouragement.
That's sweet.
I know. And it really made a difference for that student.
Yeah, sometimes just a few kind words can make all the difference.
Exactly. And the best part is that this story has inspired other people to write letters of encouragement too.
It's like that ripple effect again.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring.
Okay, well, we've explored some pretty amazing stories from all over the world, but let's not forget about all the good things that are happening right here in our own city.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to hear about those.
Me too.
We actually have a story from right here in town that I think you'll really enjoy.
Okay, let's hear it. It's amazing how one small act of kindness can really have a ripple effect, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in a big city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like all these people coming together to help that subway performer.
Yeah, and actually there's more to that story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so somebody in the crowd that day actually filmed the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
And they posted it online.
Okay.
And the video went totally viral.
Oh, wow.
And people all over the world were watching it. And it really just captured people's hearts.
It's amazing how social media can help spread these kinds of positive stories, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
And it helps to remind us that there's still so much good in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happened after the video went viral?
Okay, so get this. A famous musician saw the video.
No way.
I know. And he was so moved by it
Wow.
that he invited the subway performer to open for him at his next concert.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know, right? Like, talk about a life-changing opportunity.
It really is.
It just goes to show you that even the smallest act of kindness can have a huge impact.
Yeah, you never know what kind of chain reaction you might set off.
Speaking of chain reactions, let's go back to Iran for a second.
All right.
And talk a little bit more about that wall of kindness.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
So imagine you're walking down the street and you come across this wall.
Yeah.
But it's not just any wall.
Okay.
It's covered in clothes and shoes and blankets,
Oh, right.
all neatly organized and free for anyone to take.
I love that idea.
It's such a simple way to help people, you know?
It really is.
And what's great is that it's totally anonymous, so people don't have to feel embarrassed about taking things if they need them.
Yeah, that's a really important point.
It really encourages people to give what they can and take what they need.
It creates a real sense of community.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about that Feed a Family program in South Africa earlier.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little more about how that works?
Sure. So basically when you're checking out at the grocery store, they have these prepackaged bags of groceries that you can buy.
Okay.
And each bag is like a complete meal for a family.
Gotcha.
So you just add it to your order and then it's donated to a family in need.
That's brilliant.
I know, right? It makes it so easy for people to give back.
It really does.
We don't even have to think about it, you know?
And it's great that the families can choose the bags that they want,
Yeah.
so they know they're getting food that they'll actually eat.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready for another heartwarming story.
All right, this one takes us back to Canada.
Okay.
It's about a dog named Buddy who got lost while he was on a camping trip with his family.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Poor Buddy.
The family searched everywhere for him, but they couldn't find him.
Oh,
Weeks went by, and they were starting to lose hope.
I bet.
But then one day, they got a call from an animal shelter,
Okay.
hundreds of miles away.
What?
Yeah, they had found Buddy.
How did he get all the way over there?
Well, it turns out that Buddy was wearing a special collar that had a GPS tracker on it.
Oh, wow. Technology to the rescue.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And the shelter was able to use the tracker to figure out where he had been.
Oh, cool.
And they discovered that he had somehow hitched a ride on a delivery truck that was passing through their town.
Oh, my gosh. What an adventure.
I know, right? But the best part is that the shelter staff went above and beyond to reunite Buddy with his family.
Really?
Yeah. They could have just kept him at the shelter,
Yeah.
but they knew that he belonged with his family.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So they used the GPS information to contact the owners and arrange for Buddy to be transported back home.
Oh, I love that.
And the reunion was just so heartwarming.
I bet.
Everyone was so happy to have Buddy back home where he belonged.
I'm sure Buddy was pretty happy, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, what's next?
All right, for our next story, we're going to a small town in the U.S.
Okay.
where a community came together to make a young boy's dream come true.
I love these kind of stories.
Me too.
What was his dream?
His name is Ethan, and he'd always wanted a treehouse.
Oh, a treehouse.
Yeah, like a really cool one.
a classic childhood dream.
I know. But his family couldn't afford to build him one.
Oh, that's too bad.
But a teacher found out about his dream and decided to do something about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She told the rest of the school about Ethan's dream,
Okay.
and everyone was so touched by it
I
that they all decided to help out.
Seriously? That's amazing.
Yeah. People donated money and materials, and some people even volunteered to help build the treehouse.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know, right? It was a real community effort.
It's so heartwarming to see people coming together like that.
It really is.
And for Ethan, it wasn't just about getting a treehouse, was it?
No, definitely not.
It was about knowing that his community cared about him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a feeling that he'll carry with him forever.
Okay, so we've traveled all over the globe looking at these amazing acts of kindness.
We have?
But now let's bring it back home for a moment. We have a story from right here in our city
Oh, cool.
that shows how even the simplest gestures can have a big impact.
I'm ready.
So there's this young woman named Sarah who works at a coffee shop downtown.
Okay.
And one morning, this guy came in who was clearly having a rough day.
Oh.
He was running late for a meeting, and he couldn't find his wallet.
Oh, that's the worst.
I know, right?
Ah.
It's like one of those days where everything seems to be going wrong.
Totally.
So Sarah saw that he was really stressed out, and she decided to do something really nice.
What did she do?
She offered to pay for his coffee and pastry.
Oh, well, that's so kind.
I know, and she was just like, don't worry about it. It's on me.
That probably made his whole day.
It really did.
You know, it's those little acts of kindness that can really restore your faith in humanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a reminder that there are still good people in the world.
And the guy was so touched by Sarah's gesture that he later came back to the coffee shop.
Really?
Yeah. They brought her flowers and a thank you note.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It just goes to show you how kindness can be contagious.
Exactly.
When we're kind to others, it inspires them to be kind too.
Okay.
What else do we have?
All right, get ready for a story that'll warm your heart.
Okay.
This one comes from a small village in India,
Okay.
and it's about an unlikely friendship between a young girl and an elderly woman.
Oh, I love those kind of stories.
Me too. They're the best.
It's so special when people from different generations can connect like that.
Yeah, it really is.
So tell me more about this friendship.
Okay, so the young girl's name is Anya,
Anya.
and she lives next door to an elderly woman named Mrs. Sharma.
Okay.
Now, Mrs. Sharma is a widow, and she lives alone.
Oh,
And she often felt very isolated and lonely.
that's so sad.
It is, yeah.
It's heartbreaking to think of anyone feeling that way.
But Anya, being the sweetheart that she is,
Mm-hmm.
she could sense that Mrs. Sharma was sad,
Okay.
and she decided to do something about it.
What did she do?
Well, she started visiting Mrs. Sharma regularly.
Yeah. She would bring her flowers from her garden,
That's so sweet.
and she would just sit and talk with her and listen to her stories.
I bet Mrs. Sharma really appreciated that.
Oh, she definitely did.
Just having someone to talk to can make all the difference,
Yeah, it can.
especially when you're feeling lonely.
And as they got to know each other better,
Mm-hmm.
Anya started helping Mrs. Sharma with little things around the house,
Oh, wow.
like grocery shopping and watering your plants.
That's so thoughtful.
Anya's just a really kind and caring person.
It sounds like it.
And over time, their friendship really blossomed.
That's beautiful.
It became a source of strength and support for both of them.
It's amazing how these kinds of connections can develop in the most unexpected places.
It really is.
You know, before we wrap up this episode,
Yeah.
I'd like to share a quote that I think really captures the essence of what we've been talking about today.
Okay, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so this quote is from Helen Keller, and she said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched.
Hmm.
They must be felt with the heart."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, and I think it really speaks to the power of human connection, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, it's not just about seeing acts of kindness. It's about feeling them
Hmm.
and letting them inspire us to be more kind ourselves.
Yeah, and it makes you realize that all of these stories that we've been talking about,
Yeah.
they're not just isolated incidents, you know?
Right.
They're all connected by this underlying current of human compassion.
Exactly. And that compassion is something that we all have within us.
Yeah.
And it's something that we can all choose to tap into.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today,
Yeah.
I'd like to leave you with a question.
Okay.
What small act of kindness can you do today to create a positive ripple effect in your own community?
That's a great question.
It doesn't have to be something big, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes the smallest gestures can have the biggest impact.
Like just smiling at someone or holding the door open for
Yeah.
them.
Or offering to help someone who looks like they're struggling.
Just listening to someone who needs to talk.
Yeah, it's all about being present and showing that you care.
And the amazing thing is that when we choose to be kind, it inspires others to be kind too.
It's like a chain reaction of positivity.
It really is.
And that's what makes the world a better place.
Absolutely.
So let's all make a conscious effort to spread kindness wherever we go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's be the change we want to see in the world.
Okay.
One small act of kindness at a time.
I love that.
Thank you so much for joining us on this heartwarming journey celebrating human connection.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and stay connected.
Bye, everyone.